In this episode, we talk about and famous questions that I get all the time when people ask me, how do I get my partner interested in real estate? Stay tuned for what we have to say about this.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Same Page. I am Lenard and this is my lovely wife.
Sarah, c'est ma juste.
So now we're going to tackle one of the questions that mostly Sarah gets quite often is that how do you get your partner also interested in real estate?
Mm-hmm.
So what type of answers have you given our audience about that question?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I think the question that I get is mostly from males. Okay. And I think they come to me because, well, it's typically like we're having a conversation and it's just like, hey, like, how do I get my wife interested in real estate? And I'm saying this, but I want everybody to know that there's just as many females in real estate investing than there are males, right? And I'm not sure why I get that question maybe from males more, maybe because they're like, oh, you're female, you're interested. Like, how did you get interested in real estate? But like the question itself, I can't really relate it to how I got interested in real estate because that's just an inherent interest of mine, right? What worked for me in the sense that how I got interested in it is not necessarily what's going to get your partner interested in real estate, right? So that was just like a little bit of a little aside. So typically when I get this question, my answer is, well, are you interested in what your wife is doing? Are you taking interest in her hobbies? Like, you can't expect someone to take interest in what you're doing if you're not showing interest in what they're doing. And it goes for anything in real estate, any other hobby that they have, whether it's cooking or whatnot. If somebody's like you see that somebody's taking a liking to something, and they show a lot of enthusiasm and they're like, did you see this? This is the meal I cooked, or, this is whatever project I completed. And you're like, meh. So how can you expect that person to show interest in what you're doing? So and this is typically what I say to the person, are you interested in what they're in their hobbies? And my next, if it's no, then you need to show interest. And how do you show interest in somebody else's hobby? You ask questions. You see how they're doing, whatever progress they're making. You have some kind of enthusiasm when they're showing you something or asking you questions and they're proud of what they're doing. I think that's one way of showing interest, right? The second thing is, if you're not doing this, there is a way to kind of like start kind of opening this I don't know, this topic. And one way to do it is to go on a dream date. What is a dream date? No, it is not going to the Caribbean or on an expensive trip, and it's not the date that you guys dream of. Is to go on a date and dream together. So basically the date is maybe going to a restaurant, could go for a walk, it could be at home making a meal together, whatever it is. It is not, this extravagant date. It is only a date so that you guys can both talk about your future and the dreams that you have for your family.
Interesting. I like that. And just to add on to that, like when you're talking about your dreams, you want to be as specific as possible, because the more specific you are, then the more opportunities that you have in order to actually make that come true. When you're vague with your dreams, then they seem very far-fetched. But once you get down to the nitty-gritty as far as the specifics of it, then it makes it more tangible and it makes it more realistic. And then one thing that Sarah was alluding to when she was talking about how she's asking these husbands, well, are you interested in what your wife's activities? So there needs to be a give and take. So in this case, you need to give before you receive.
Absolutely.
And that's just kind of like a fundamental law of nature. So by you showing that interest, by you being involved, by you posing those questions, and trying to almost match the person's passion, you will get that in return in tenfolds, I believe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to be more specific into real estate investing itself, when if you're on your dream date and your wife or your husband is like, okay, well, my dream is to travel the world. I'd love to do this and I'd love to do that. I'd love to open a charity, or I love for school or kids to be homeschooled. I want to live at the cottage. Then you listen, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then you, the person interested in real estate, you might say, oh, I see for my family that we're both no longer working. We retire early. We can, we could stay at home and cook all day, or whatever hobbies that we have. I could play golf if I want. And you're like, oh, the way I see this happening is by building your wealth, and the vehicle is real estate. Because real estate is typically, if you ask most people, it's not the end goal. Like nobody, at least not that I think of, dreams of like, being a property manager for the rest of their lives, or
being a landlord.
I think it's really that the possibilities that real estate provides that we're interested in, and the wealth that it builds for your family. So when you put it like that, it's like, yeah, me too. I want to do X, Y, Z, and I do want to travel, and I do want to, live in a cottage, and I do want to play golf all day, whatever hobby it is. Then you're like, oh, the way I see a plan to do this is by buying these multifamily properties, and the residual income will pay for a lifestyle. And I think that's how you sort of, I don't want to say sell your real estate hobby or vision, but that's kind of, you can make the person understand why you're doing this. And if they're not interested in talking to investors, finding deals and all that, I think that's okay too, right? But maybe that's how you can make them understand where you're going. And eventually maybe they'll take a liking to maybe some parts of it. But that's definitely not something you can force upon another person.
Absolutely. And I know, like, when I see Sarah being passionate about something, then for me, it makes me curious as to why she's passionate about this stuff. And then it also makes me want to participate in some capacity. So if you're the person that is interested in real estate, and you're trying to convince your partner, you need to show you need to be really passionate about real estate, and you need to be really passionate about all the goals you can accomplish through real estate. As Sarah alluded to, real estate is only a vehicle to you achieving your ultimate goals.
And the last thing that I'm going to say is there are so many aspects of real estate investing, and it's not just the raising capital, the finding the deals and analyzing the deals, but there's also the organizational part, making sure your paperwork, keeping your investors, make sure that your investors are getting paid, making sure you keep track of all the deals you're analyzing. So if that person is more organized than you, then maybe that's the part that they can kind of partake in your business, and that's how it can sort of become a partnership. But you cannot, absolutely not, expect the person to take an interest or want to participate in your business. It is their right to not like it, but you can only show them, what it may do for your family, and allow them to process it, and maybe eventually they'll take a liking to a certain part of it, but that shouldn't be your expectation. It should be organic. It should come from them, just like you taking an interest in their hobbies should come from you.
Exactly. So hopefully those tips will help you in trying to bridge that gap between you and your partner and their interest in real estate. So once again, continue to follow us, subscribe, click that like button.
Yes, always the like button, and comments. We love comments. We want to know what you guys think about these videos, so that it helps us know, like, are we, providing value to you guys.
Until next time, guys.
Don't forget to live your truth.